everyone. Distinguished members of the panel, I would like to present a quick overview of the IBM i2 system and its interrelationship with the Smarter Cities for public safety applications. All right. All right, so. Okay, now we'll figure out this thing. I'll go forward. Now, I'm going to talk about a couple concepts here, and then, so the first term, and I'm going to explain it because it might not translate well, is called criticality. A criticality is a critical event. It's something that's important. You heard the prior speakers talk about it and the things that happen in terms of criticality. So we're going to talk about criticality, or an important event. We're going to talk about responders to public safety are more exposed now. A lot of things can happen to a responder, and we see that in the news. And then left of criticality. I'm an ex-Navy SEAL, ex-Special Forces officer and intelligence officer. And I'll tell you right now, in the defense world, we call it left of boom, which means you want to stop the boom. You want to be before the boom happens. You don't want to be after the boom, and you certainly don't want to be at the boom. So what we're doing is we're trying to push to the left of criticality, and we'll talk a little bit about that, or left of the event, which means before the event. So let's talk about, in the past, traditional policing, traditional public safety has been very reactive. Something happens, and you react to it. You send out a car, you send out a police car, you send out a fire truck. That's called response, or reactive response. Then we've moved into the world of intelligence-led policing, or intelligence-led public safety, where we understand there are certain areas heavy in crime, there are certain areas that aren't heavy in crime, so you deploy your assets accordingly. The next is interactive or embedded response. Commonly termed community policing, community response. It's something that's been going on over here. It's something that is very common in China, Singapore, here in Taiwan. As we roll up this from reactive to proactive, the amount of information that is generated by these assets. If I have an intelligence section that's producing information, I'm going to get a lot more information. If I have community policing officers in the field, I'm going to get a lot more information about their beats. Then we have to go up to analysis-assisted response. That's the analytics that we've talked about, right? The Smarter Cities is all about bringing in information, applying some type of filtering and analytic to it to try and make sense. And we get to the top of the thing up in predictive and preventive, which is at or left criticality. From right in the middle here, up 80% of savings will occur at the top of this chart. If the city applies the kind of technology we're talking about, you will save 80%. It is far cheaper to prevent a crime than react to a crime. So let's talk about something. You have the situation, and this has been the common thing of speakers throughout today. I have a situation, I have lots of different information, I need to relate it, I need to interpret it, I have to discover, I've associated, I've uncovered it, and I've exposed it. It has to get to the law enforcement officer, the public safety responder, and then that public safety responder is then able to realize, provide insight, and in a timely manner do things. So much of what we used to call in the military op-tempo, operations tempo. In public safety, operations tempo has increased 8-fold. There's an entire new category of crime called coordinated crime. It's in between regular crime and organized crime. It's called coordinated crime. People use the internet. The average, you probably don't know this, but or who knows you do. The internet is a better command and control system than most countries had 5 to 10 years ago. That means criminals, people who are going to do bad things, have the ability in certain cases to have a superior command and control system, a communication system, than the actual city that they're dealing in. So let's talk about something, and this is not only true in this area, this is also true across the board in the smarter cities, all the talk about it. There are 3 communities when you try to apply a solution. One is the data community of interest. These are all the people, the IT folks. Then you have your analysis community. These are the people that analyze information and provide information to everyone. And then you have the line of business, or in the case of public security or public safety, you have the people that actually do the law enforcement, the mission people. Typically, what we see is the data people say, hey, I have a solution. Here, analysis guys, here's my IT architecture, here's my computer, here's my software. And the analysis people go, it's not really what I wanted. And so they kind of negotiate. Then the analysis people take information and they turn it into a product for the people in the mission space. And they go, here's our really cool information. Here's our stuff. And the people in the mission line of business go, that's not really what I want. And they iterate over that. That is not an efficient system. What is an efficient system is when they come together. This is called a 5A model. This is what the Special Forces in Taiwan use. This is what the United States Special Forces and a lot of law enforcement officers use. I acquire information, I ask, I analyze, I answer, I act. And in order to get that, to get left of criticality or left of boom, I have to do it pretty fast, which means my IT info people, my data community of interest, my analysis community of interest, and my mission community of interest have to see the same thing. That's what the Operations Center, the Intelligent Operations Center does. That's what I2 does. It compresses time while not losing accuracy and efficiency. In order to get to the top of that heap and save the 80% and react to crime before it happens, these people have to see, talk, and do quickly. The important thing to go, a lot of you probably heard, I'm going to take data and I'm going to go to action. If I had $1 for every time I've heard that, I wouldn't be here. I'd be retired. So let's talk about what really happens up this chain. You've got to have a trusted information base. If I do not get the information and have the information available and have the information clean and have the information verified, the old adage is blank in, blank out. So bad stuff comes in, you're going to get bad results. So once I establish a trusted information, then I have a reasoning base. Then by relaying it to people, I start to have a knowledge base. That knowledge base, when visualized, becomes a decision base. You can't have action without a decision. We all know in the public sector, right? In order to have actionable intelligence and actionable information, I have to be able to visualize it, absorb it, because a human presses a button and pulls a trigger, not a machine. And that's not going to change just because all these machines are here. So the overall architecture that we're talking about in terms of solution space, and I'm not saying IBM, is I have a lot of information on the bottom. I have databases. I have file systems. I have video. I have all kinds of paper documents and other types of artifacts of information. All that kind of different information has to get to not only my public safety responders, but then has to get to the analysts back to the public safety responders. That's really what Smarter Cities is all about. All right? Information, broad pools of information that, let's face it, very few information is all in one place. It's stovepiped, right? It's in here, you know, I have some information here, I have some information over here. I got to get it together, and I got to get it quickly to the people. I have applications, all kinds of different, you know, for the last 20 years, government has been buying applications, computer applications. I have data management, I have process management. We talk about SOPs, right? Concepts of operation, or ConOps. And then analytics, business analytics, advanced analytics, all the things we talked about. I have analysts that take a look at information and provide it to my deployed people. So, in the general scheme of things, this is how IBM sees it. I have IBM Smarter Cities. It is a framework to integrate information, move it fast, put smart actions upon it, get it in a decisionable format for people to make decisions, not in a consolidated center, because I think Mike talked about it. In a consolidated center, everybody scales what's called, we use a term called scaling on the eyeball. If I scale on my eyeball, I only scale as fast as the number of people I have. If I'm in a big data, or let's say I'm in that threefold crisis that you just brought up, I quickly overwhelm my command center. Then either people start to freeze, or they go into what we call the drowning man syndrome. Right? We can't afford that. Taiwan can't afford that. The world can't afford that. Especially in a critical time. So the Smart Cities platform, what that does is allows us to have computers and other support equipment simplify the decisioning, what we call the decisioning, to not only get the information, put the information up, be smart about it, but put it in a recommended or decisionable format. So it's a lot better for someone who's exhausted, who's been up for 14 hours, to say, the typhoon hit, I have flooding here, the dam's ready to break, I need to evacuate here, 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 here. I don't need to have that person try to figure out the areas down from the dam that I need to evacuate. Because when it really gets tough, you need help. And that's what the systems in the IBM Smarter Cities do. They help people make easier decisions. Easier, easier, easier. That's very, very important. In the military, when I was in Special Forces, I was trained to do things. I would do it over and over and over. So if a bad guy showed up, I didn't have to think about it. I just turned the weapon, right? Didn't have to think. Same thing here. So we have I2. It's called the Intelligent Law Enforcement. We have just sold it to Miami, based on our established Intelligent Operations Center and IBM Smarter Cities application to the stadium in Miami. Now we just signed to the city the first instances of the intelligence law enforcement. We also have everything that's part of that has been going on in both LA and Tucson in the United States. You're exporting that down to the world. And we love to be able to talk about it and talk about some of the issues and concepts. So here you all see all the different types of products, but I'm not going to dwell on the product. The point is the solution. Not only can I help agriculture, not only can I help all those things, but I can help the same technology that helps the military deal with the things will help the police and fire and have that integrated. So if I know that I have, for instance, social media, very, very important. We have criminals doing something called flash mobs, which means they go out on the internet, and flash mob is really designed sort of a goofy thing for kids to get together and dance, right, or do something silly. Unfortunately, criminals use it as an assembly mechanism for the criminals to all get together. So if a flash mob, we actually saw this in the Republican and Democratic national conventions, which the IBM system supported this year. They coordinated flash mobs to block the fire and the police from getting to an area where they were really going to have the protest. The Occupy Wall Street folks were down there at the convention. We were able to detect that and put assets, police assets behind it so that the blocking didn't matter. That's an example of a smarter city in the public. Okay? That's pretty much it, sir. Thank you.